It is 8 o'clock on the nose. It is Tuesday, March 18th, the third Tuesday of March 2025. This is DMR Tech Net TV. Thank you to everyone for joining us live on the show or watching us on our recorded stream. I'm Dana, KC0MYP, one of the DMR Tech Net team. The members include Stan, WB8QJZ. We've also got Steve, KC8WXM. We've got Tom, N8PJ, as well as Rick, 88KN. I don't see Brad, but he could be joining us here shortly. Anyway, tonight we have a special guest. We have KD6KPC. That's Garrett Dow. He is the proprietor and owner of RepeaterBook, which is the premier website for finding repeater information. So you can use your ham radio across the country, locally in town, or even outside the US. It is so cool. He's got a lot of new changes coming, and they're happening this year in 2025. I had the privilege to meet him last year at the Dayton Ham Fest, or Hamvention, excuse me. And boy, it was fun. You're wearing the same shirt, Garrett, but that's okay. And we also had Garrett last year on our show on DMR Tech Net TV, as well as 2 weeks ago on our DMR Tech Net show on Monday nights. Anyway, without further ado, Garrett, we'll let you tell us a little bit about yourself. I think you were way back in junior high or something when you learned about radios and you wanted to get started, and then you can get into RepeaterBook and tell us all the cool things about it. Give us maybe a tour of it and tell us all the new and great things you've got coming.
Right. Thanks, Dana. I appreciate it. And just a little background on the shirt. Um, I wanted to change it up. I was thinking about different colors and stuff, but the RepeaterBook logo over here is red and blue with white on the back. And the reason for that is because there's a partnership between the US, me, and Nicholas Pike, who actually writes the app, M1HOG. And so the colors represent the partnership between the UK and the United States as far as this project is concerned. So going to a different color background, we lose the white. So the red, white, and blue is proudly our colors that we display. So yeah, Dana, what you were alluding to about the history, I've always been into radios, and I remember our friends, like kids wanted to get CBs and stuff to talk. We always had those little realistic radios that were plastic and they had the Morse code and you could push the orange button. I think everybody had those as kids. I can't remember what frequency they worked on, um, but
Yeah,
anyway, when
I worked at Radio Shack. I know what you're talking about.
you
So
know,
yeah.
with the little, yeah, and I think we even had some that had the metal antennas that always telescoped and broke at some point. But um, so fun. And then when I was actually a Boy Scout, I'd gotten my Eagle at 16, but stayed in Scouts till I was 18. And the leaders decided that we could get the amateur radio merit badge, and so they had a very, very knowledgeable Elmer come in from the local ham club, and he taught probably 6 week class, a couple hours a night. And like most teenagers, most or every other boy in there wanted to go play basketball and not do this, but I loved it. Went and took my test along with four of the other scout leaders, one being my dad, and we all got our licenses, and then we all were able to talk to each other. And this is 1992, so it's pre-cell phone. And I remember delivering pizza, and I had a pager on me. And if one of these, my dad or anybody wanted to get a hold of me, they could just put into the pager the frequency of the repeater, and I'd come up on the repeater, and we'd talk. First radio, my dad took me down to Ham Radio Outlet in Burbank, and we picked up an Alinco DJ F1T and a blue, but it was the little pocket guy, the ARRL repeater directory, which you have to have a repeater directory to program your radio and actually talk to people. Got involved with the local club down there, and then upgraded to some mobile radios. My dad got I think an FT 2800. It's a heavy duty Yaesu radio, and I got a Kenwood TM 733, which was a dual band Kenwood, back when Kenwood was putting out dual and tri-band mobiles. Um, Went to college, took the ACT test, and the ACT test science reasoning section was ham radio, all about the ionosphere. So I was so thrilled about that because of all the different sections. I got a perfect score on science reasoning. So because I'd been taught all the ham radio stuff a couple of years before. So went on and taught, became an ARRL instructor and taught hundreds of people with, I guess, dozens getting their licenses. I am proud to say that everybody who actually took the test from one of my classes actually became a ham. So I've always been into the hobby and always helped support it, bringing in new. In fact, my wife is a ham, taught her parents. Um, so yeah. But the question that I guess I'm trying to answer is, why did I get into making RepeaterBook? And it really goes back to that blue ARRL directory that I bought that I mentioned, because I would spend, I was the type when we got the VCR, I could figure out how to make the 12 o'clock stop blinking because I read every page. And so with the ARRL book, after I'd read the manual for the Alinco, I was going through every repeater and trying them. And I was trying them from home. I was trying them from the mountaintops. And then I had to bring my pencil and line out the repeaters that didn't work. And so confused as to why are they listed here, but they don't work. And then when I got into putting, I think my Kenwood, I put 30 memories in it. I don't remember how many it actually held. That was probably pretty close to max. But it had this removable face that you would take off and you could take it with you so that try to deter somebody from stealing your radio. And sometimes when you put that face back on, the radio would blip and it would reset back to factory reset. All the memories would be gone. So I quickly learned to have all my repeaters on written down on a piece of paper so I could quickly program them back in. And then that evolved to when I went to school in another state, I had another list of repeaters. So I had a list of repeaters for home, a list of repeaters for school. Went to an Excel spreadsheet with different pages for different areas. I was in Denver, I was in LA, I was in Eastern Idaho. Um, so that evolved to not wanting to have just this Excel spreadsheet in the glove box of my car, because now I had handheld radios. And so I decided to put it online. So I created this online thing and I thought, well, I'll program a page that tells me more about these repeaters. And then I went out, I don't really have much programming experience, and I went out and bought this book. And it's called PHP for Dummies. And if you're not sure what PHP is, it's a programming language that can create HTML, but it also queries a database so that you basically create a template and then data from your database comes in and fills it in. So when you're looking at a repeater on RepeaterBook, the details page, there's only one details page. And based on the repeater that's being looked at, the page completely changes. So they're not individual different pages. It's how the internet runs, I guess. But so I had to learn how to do that. And I programmed in Oregon and Washington when a ham from Canada, Alberta, reached out to me and said, hey, can you do it for Alberta too? And so that really kicked it off with putting it in for other states and provinces, and then building out ways to let people help with the project. And then we officially named it RepeaterBook.com in 2006. So I call 2006 really the beginning of RepeaterBook, though it was probably running since 2002 in a different form. And so it's just been a project that's been evolving for the last, I'm going to say 19 years to the point it is now. I kind of built it for me, but also listening to feedback. People have good ideas. I build it out, and I'm always thinking about how can I make this data work for me better and better. And so that's what's been built. Recently, the ARRL approached me last October and asked if they could use RepeaterBook data for the ARRL directory. So here we're going from this book that I bought back in '92 to now actually being the provider of repeater data for the ARRL. So I guess you could say I have a passion for good data, um, going all the way back to the roots of buying that first book. So that book is now available. You can buy it from the ARRL directory. I don't make any money on it. It's all proceeds for the ARRL. Um, so that's now available this year with RepeaterBook data. And I did hear that one of the employees at the ARRL pulled the book and looked at it. He goes, I want to see if my repeater that I took off the air 20 years ago is still in here because it was in the year before his book. And he looked it up and it wasn't there. So, which he was thrilled about to see that anecdotally the data is better than it has been for a long time. So, and we just continue to evolve it. Um, I guess I'll pause for questions right there before we start doing a tour of the actual website because it's no fun just looking at me.
And by the way, if you guys go to repeaterbook.com, log in. It's absolutely free. But if you
Right.
want to become a member, you can do that. But it says announcement. As Garrett mentioned, the ARRL Repeater Directory 2025 edition new. So that is really kind of cool on that one.
Yeah,
So
and we also are partnered up with RT Systems. Of course, RT Systems is a paid, you buy their programmers. But as far as companies to work with, I know the owners very, very well, nicest people ever, and really have made a good product. So if you struggle at all with programming the radio and need a tool that works, that just works and has great service, RT Systems is it. Sorry to plug that, but I really enjoy RT Systems. And so we've from RT Systems and even Chirp, you can use their software and query RepeaterBook from within their software and bring repeaters back, or you can run a search on RepeaterBook and then take that data export and import it into those two systems also. So a lot of integration there with programming software that's available.
pretty cool. And you're going to be at Dayton in May, is that correct?
Yep, all ready to go. I got all my, you can't really see well, maybe you can kind of see my mess of stuff that's ready to go out there.
I see a lot of radios behind you.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is cool. I know that we chatted earlier, but James N8TMP had a question on using RepeaterBook. And James actually, after the DMR Tech Net show a couple weeks ago, signed up and became one of your Plus members. Or what exactly? Hold on. Before we go to James, what does it cost to be a member of RepeaterBook?
All right. So first of all, you don't even have to have an account to use RepeaterBook. You can use it, but if you want to make updates and export data, then you need an account. And the account is free. There's no charge for that. But we've been getting a lot of requests to add features that actually um, cost money for me to actually be able to do using Google APIs and such. And so we finally come up with a way to make it so that I can provide this service, and it's called RepeaterBook Plus. So for right now, it's $12.99 a year. That every time I add a new feature, it goes up. So by Dayton, it'll probably be about $15.99 as we add more features. But the features that it adds is number one, it removes any ads from the site, and there's not very many there. Most of the ads are RT Systems ads. No Google ads or anything like that on there. It does add the ability to mark repeaters favorite. So if you're looking at a repeater that you just want to track, and you can mark them as favorites, and then you basically are creating your own list of repeaters that are stored on RepeaterBook, and then when you curate your own list, you can then export them to your favorite programming software. Um, so that's available, or you can print them or whatever you want to do. Um, Also, and I'll demonstrate this, but we've just launched a new route searching system. So just like using Google Maps, you can put in your origin and your destination. It'll show the route on the map as Google plots it, and then it will show the repeaters within the designated area along your route. And it'll also allow you to export those to your programming software in advance. Um, we're also working on building custom CSV exports where you can custom build what data you want, what order you want it, and then being able to, if you have searches you do all the time, like maybe you're trying to track repeaters in a 3-county area, we're going to give you the ability to save those searches so you can just select it and you don't have to build the search over and over and over. And then if you want to be alerted once a week to any changes, like let's say Michigan, you can subscribe to Michigan, and then on Saturday mornings, the system sends out an email to let you know that there were updates in Michigan, and then you can click the link and bring you to the website where you can see all the repeaters that were updated and what was changed. So those are the current features that RepeaterBook Plus is bringing. Um, I guess maybe that not everybody needs that, and that's fine. Anything that we currently offer for free is going to stay free. It's just some of these new things, like Google, they charge me every time we query a route, so I've got to offset that cost, and so that's what that helps do. So if that makes sense, but that's the tiers, if you will. There's a guest version, there's a registered version, and then there's a RepeaterBook Plus version.
Pretty cool. All right. Thank you for that. James, N8TMP, you mentioned earlier you had a question. So let's turn it over to James.
Yeah, I think Garrett, number one, thanks for jumping on here. I think maybe now that I'm the Plus member, your upcoming features might solve what I was trying to do. So what I was trying to do is like when I was traveling from the Detroit area up to the Upper Peninsula for vacation, I went through and I found all the counties I was going to be passing through. And I went to the advanced features, like by counties. I selected all those counties that I know I was going to pass through, exported that out. I got the list, but then when I exported the list out to, I have an Alinco radio, but it's the same as, takes the same as the Anytone 578. I exported that out, but there's just no way to tell me what counties they were. So I kind of had to keep referencing back because what I wanted to do was, have county one and be in one zone, the next county be in another zone. But when I exported that list, it didn't have a column to tell me what county was what. So I had to kind of keep referencing back and forth. Now, if I export just to a CSV, that column is there.
Yeah, right. So the columns that come out for the Anytone export are just what Anytone needs, because anything extra, it'll break the import. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the screen and show then this new route searching thing, and hope that it behaves well because we consider it in beta, but it's been working. So which screen is it? This one here. All right, everybody can see.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So it says find repeaters along your route. I guess this is an alpha release actually. So we're still playing with some things. So was it John? Give me
James. Yep.
James, sorry. Give
Yep.
me a starting location.
Just do like Detroit. Start like with Detroit. We'll do something general.
All right. And then how about a destination?
It was Iron River, Michigan.
Is that 2 words?
Yes.
All right. And then 2 meter, 70 centimeter FM DMR. That sound good?
Yes. Yep. That's what I did.
All right. So we have other options to filter down to different features or avoid tolls, avoid ferries, that sort of thing. But I just have it on fastest route with highways. We're going to add the ability to filter to just wide area or filter out local area, that sort of thing. But that's what's coming. So I click on that. It brings up the map. So hopefully this is
That's
the route you would
correct.
take.
Yep.
Let me see if I can go full screen here. Well, that didn't do much, did it? So there we go. So zoom in a little bit. So I-69, I-75, or I-75. That's the. All right. So, and you'll notice the pins are color coded, and I do have an explanation for that. And then coming across, and you can kind of see, gets a little sparse as you get up in here. Let me get out of that and let's see what it did. So how these results are constructed after the route is chosen and rendered, the database has searched for repeaters that are within 50 miles of the route that will be selectable, so you can choose the distance. The results are further filtered by only showing repeaters that are known to be operational and have wide area coverage. So right now, these are just repeaters that we've been told are wide area. So there's probably a lot more. And I'm going to create the ability to turn off or on wide area only and turn off or on local, remove local or filter local. So probably get a lot more repeaters when um, we give a little bit more option. But those are ones that say they're up wide area, which is more difficult to do in areas that aren't mountainous, right? Um, you got towers and buildings. So when we move down here, this is printable, this page here. Um, it looks like it doesn't have county like you'd want. So probably that's something I need to add is the county. But this is supposed to be in order of the repeaters as you would encounter them. So that if they start at Detroit, it should be the repeaters down to the lower end here. And then and we can click on them and see what these repeaters are. And then but Iron River was the end, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's not in the order. No.
Yeah, I've been trying to make that work, so maybe that's why it's alpha still, right? I don't have that quite working, or if this maybe this started from the north and came south and the bottom. I don't know. Anyway, I've been working on trying to get a sort to go in the order, but it does show the modes here, and then it gives you the marker color for those modes, and so you know that red is FM and well in System Fusion, blue is just FM, so you can come up here. But we were looking for DMR, so DMR are these blue push pins. And there's one blue push pin right here in Guilford. I don't really see any more in there.
That's an MI5.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of MI5.
So they're just
I
not listed
know
as
there's
wide
some in
area in the
Frankenmuth.
database, which is why they didn't show. So yeah, so I've got oh here's another one. Oh, that's P25. Guilford's P25. Yeah, that's a
Yeah, the
P25
MI5 has a
FM
bunch.
mixed mode. So no DMR wide area actually came up. So yeah, so that's why we're gonna, I need to add more. Oh, there's one right here. In Petoskey, I'm guessing if I said that right. So wherever that one is. So let's see. There it is. There's Petoskey there. So right below, right there. So screen took over. There we go. Where I couldn't hit the back button. There we go. Okay.
Do you have excuse me, do you have the Maidenhead grid squares of all those repeaters in the database?
Well, what we do is we auto calculate it based on the coordinates that we're given.
Mhm.
So we put some coordinate in for every repeater, and then if somebody notes to us that that's the actual location, then we put the grid square in on there. Yeah.
I wonder if that would help you in your sort.
Yeah, it anyway. I thought I had it figured out, but I guess not. But again, that's why we call it alpha. So I wanted to get it out sooner than later, so that at least there's something to work with and find. So, but anyway, that's the project that I'm working on, and it's coming along. I mean, we're getting somewhere. Wasn't able to do this 2 months ago, and now we can do it. So, and then here's download KML. So you can download that to Google Earth, and sometimes that's easier to navigate in than trying to use that map on the Google map here. So, and then it will have the ability to export to the different programming software program suites that we support, including Anytone and etc. James, is that kind of getting us closer at least?
Yeah, maybe, maybe the build your own CSV might,
Yeah,
get me closer, because then if I
right.
can, still do what I did is go through and do the advanced and go by counties and select all the counties, export it as CSV, and then organize it there, and then just, take out the columns that the Anytone doesn't need. Then, I can do all that manipulating, in the CSV file, and then, import it in.
So the other thing you can do is I'm going to click over here to my favorite repeaters. So this is my own curated list of repeaters that I've selected, and I can come in and add a comment. I can delete them at whatever. And so this is a list of repeaters, and then I can sort them. But I have this filter here. So if I wanted to, I could come in and filter and say I only want to see the 2 meter ones, or I only want to see DMR, and this list would change when I hit apply filters. It better change when I do it. So if I hit that and I hit apply filters, yep, now we come down, I have just 2 meter repeaters in there. Oh no, it didn't work. So maybe that should be back to alpha. Um, but that's the way it's supposed to work. It sorted them in order, but it didn't take them out. So still working on that. But and this does show county, and this would be printable too. So this would be something that you could come in and mark your favorite ones, and then you basically create an exportable list in advance and then print this out. And then you would have a reference. The way that you add repeaters to your favorites is fairly simple. If I go into Michigan, just look at 2 meter repeaters here. Down this right column here, and this again for RB Plus members, it shows if I have any that are my favorites and not right now. But if I click on this one and click add to favorite, I got another pop-up that said successfully added, and now I get this red heart right here that tells me that this is a favorite repeater. So then if I just step back and refresh this page, I get a little heart here that tells me that that repeater is on my favorites list. So if we were looking at Oregon, where I'm at, and click 2 meter, there we can see all down this right side here, all these repeaters that I have that are on my favorites. So I basically have created my own custom list of repeaters, and then I can go to my favorites, and here they are. And so what's important here is this might be the repeaters that are programmed in my radios, and I bring in the operational status as we know it. And I went through this and found some that had a black. When they're black, it means they've been archived and known to be no longer operational. So I was able to go through the list and delete out the ones that are gone. But I'm looking at this, and most of them are green. A couple of reds here are important because maybe I didn't know they were red, and now, I come back in here and they've been marked red. So those are ones that maybe I don't want to put in my radio now because they're red, and I could delete them if I want to. But right now I'm tracking them. So it just kind of takes the whole database that and takes away, as somebody said, the noise, where you can parse this down to just repeaters that you want to track. And it doesn't matter what state, what country. If you want to track Italy, you can track Italy. It'll all track in here the same. So
I've got
I
a
think,
question, and we've
yeah,
got a friend from Australia with us,
yeah.
DK1JT. John, unmute yourself. Do you have a question for Garrett about Australian repeaters?
No, nothing. I installed RepeaterBook. I didn't realize you had to pay for it. Or
Oh, you
maybe I
don't?
bought
Oh,
it.
no. Yeah.
Or maybe I bought it. I don't know. But I've got it on my iPhone. And I'm still trying to work out. I said with this, it's voice over IP to the repeater.
Oh, so RepeaterBook, the app, is essentially just a phone book in your hand. It doesn't offer any connectivity. Right now, kind of the architecture of it is such that it was designed to be a true emergency communications app. And maybe emergency communications isn't the right word, but emergency app. So, for example, the cellular's down, the Wi-Fi's down. The app doesn't make any web calls.
Yeah.
Everything, the whole database is right inside.
Yeah.
So if I know there's other apps out there, but they all call a server over the
Yeah.
internet. Well, if the internet's down and you can't get to the internet, or you're in an area, and I know there's a lot of areas in Australia probably that don't have internet coverage, no cellular out and about.
I've got a device that does a similar thing.
Right. So
Except it's
the
with
app will still
aircraft.
work and show you the closest repeater, even though there's no cellular connection. And so that's how that's designed. Now, what we are building for it is an API hook for other apps. So if there is another app that wants to interface with RepeaterBook to control something else or do voice over IP or whatever, they would be able to use the RepeaterBook data to
Yeah.
power their own app. But
Yeah.
so that way nobody has to go out and reinvent all this data. They can hook into our data and then power their app
Yeah.
with the RepeaterBook data. So that's in development now. We think that'll be pretty revolutionary for um, app makers and radio makers coming up here in the near future. So
Cool. I see
Sorry,
that
I was getting
Dave.
your, pardon me, I was getting your app mixed up with Repeater Phone.
yeah, I'm not familiar with that app. There was an app called R Finder that was a pay to use, but they've since folded up shop. So
Well, there you go. That's it up on the screen now. And then it's got a
beautiful.
list of every repeater in the world you can hook through. It's hooked through Echolink.
Nice.
Yeah.
Competition. Where was it? Dave, N8 SBE had a question.
Yeah, I'm running our RT Systems programs version 4, which is not the current stuff. And a couple of years, 3 years ago, I talked to them at their booth and I said, should I be upgrading to version 5? And he says, no, there's no real reason you need to do that. The version 4 does have a link in there that says, external data from RepeaterBook, but every time I try to use it, it blows up with an error.
Yeah, so I would say the reason to upgrade now is for that link to work because the API that RT Systems uses was upgraded. They have some more enhanced searches, and so RT Systems and I'm actually at their booth at Dayton and right next to them at Orlando. So we talked quite a bit. And the consensus was let's get everybody to upgrade to the current version. And you should be able to upgrade for free right inside the app. You just click upgrade from the menu. It's not like you have to buy it. You
Oh,
just
really?
right, yeah. In the app itself, there's an update
Yeah,
feature.
I check for updates and it just tells me that the current version is up to date.
Well, that's
I don't,
interesting.
yeah, I don't think there's an upgrade to go from V4 to V5 within the app.
Interesting. Okay, so they must have an end of life then on that. So I'll talk to Rod over there at RT Systems and see if I need to. A little while ago he said I didn't need to support the older version, but maybe we still need to. So I'll check with him and see.
Well, I mean, I have several of their other things because I have a bunch of different radios, and one of the things I do is I always buy the RT Systems support for whatever radio I have that I can use it with.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, I've got like about 5 different copies of this, and he says, well, that's going to cost you quite a bit to upgrade all of them to version 5. He says, my advice is just don't bother because you won't need it. But that was a few years ago, of course.
Well, what it sounds like now though is that we end of life that API. So that API is still sitting on my server. I just probably work on it because I hate to. Yeah, there's no reason for you to not be able to use it. It's just when we upgraded our version of the language, it broke that, and Rod didn't think it was worth fixing. I mean, he didn't think for me it was worth fixing, but you're giving me a good case why it might be worth fixing. So I'll take a look at it and give me a week to take a look at it and see if it's not working again, or maybe send me an email and remind me, and I'll circle back and have you test it. So
Yeah, what I have right now is a bunch of old stuff from the Travel Plus, which ARRL hasn't put out for a number of years.
yeah, that's
But
really old.
yeah, and I had, for instance, I had programmed an ICOM 7000 with that, and the 7000 has gone bad on me. So I just recently got a 7100. I find out that their program will operate with either the 7000 or the 7100. And I tried to pull stuff from RepeaterBook and it wouldn't work. So I just pulled up the old stuff I'd saved from the Travel Plus and just programmed it in there. But,
I'm going to turn off the screen share real quick, and I do see. Well, Nicholas doesn't have his screen on, but Nicholas, if that's the Nicholas I'm thinking, it's Nicholas Pike who actually developed the app. And Nicholas, are you okay with coming on and sharing what RepeaterBook Connect is and how it works with his ICOM radio? Let's see if he's paying attention.
He's still muted.
Yeah, it's midnight where he's at. So
Oh, so you have a feature in RepeaterBook for a subscriber to be able to just connect directly to the icon and program it from RepeaterBook?
sort of.
Sort
So,
of.
oh, Nicholas is in the chat. Nicholas, why don't you come on and explain RepeaterBook Connect? You're muted, so oh, maybe he's not. He maybe can't. So I'll explain it because so the 70, you said 7100, correct?
Yeah.
Let me just look up. So the 7100, let me look up RepeaterBook Connect here just to make sure. ICOM 7100. Okay, so you can connect it with, now do you have Android or iPhone?
I have an Android.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So Android phones, the USB-C on the bottom, you can get what's called an OTG cable. You can find them on Amazon for $5-10.
Oh,
But an
I see.
OTG,
And connect to the 7100 through the USB port.
right, exactly.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
so
because
when
the
you do,
7000 didn't have a USB port. It was just CIV only. So,
so
yeah.
and we can do that with the 7000 also through the CIV. So the
Oh,
7000 is supported, the 7100, the 9100 are all supported. And I'm trying to remember on that radio, is it 6 meter, 10 meter, 2 meter? Is that the VHF it does?
it has 2 meters and 70 centimeters as well.
Oh, it does 70 also. Yeah. So,
It's all HF,
right.
160 through 6 meters, and then 2 meters and 70 centimeters.
Okay. So, and of course, there's repeaters on 10, 6, 2, and 70. So, when you're connected to the radio and you have the repeater you want, you just tap the screen and it programs the VFO to the correct input output frequency and the tones.
Oh, I see. On a single repeater basis. Okay.
Yes, yeah. And if you wanted to save that as a memory, it's there. You can just save it as a memory. But I have
Yeah.
Yaesu HF, VHFs. I don't program any memories. You can just hook this thing up and put it on the one you want. But
Yeah.
that RepeaterBook Connect is a premium option within the app. So
But
uh,
when I go cross country, I run this radio mobile. And so when I go cross country, what I like to do is it has multiple banks of memories with 100 memory channels in each of the banks, A, B, C, D, E. And so for the first day, I run the A bank, and then the second day I go to the B bank, and the third day is the C bank as I go across country, right? And I have restricted the repeaters and the radius such that I get 90 or less than 100 repeaters for each of the banks. And it
yeah.
works out real well for me then because I start out the next morning and I just choose the next bank and I start scanning through that bank as I
Yeah,
drive.
yeah. So that's good too. So that if you want to do all the pre-programming, you can do that. But what the benefit or advantage to using the RepeaterBook app, and it doesn't have a scan feature, but we have talked about that. But it as you drive, the app automatically puts the closest repeaters to the top and it sorts them down. And as you drive, it constantly updates. So if
Oh,
you didn't want to pre-program, you could just select a repeater, hit it, and then your VFO is there. And if you want to try a different one, just select it and it's over to your VFO. You don't have to do any pre-programming. It's all ad hoc. Um, we've talked about maybe adding some way to have it scan, I don't know how we would do it. Maybe you would say everything within 30 miles of me and have it,
and have it
set.
constantly updated. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, but it would, I mean, I don't know how fast you can send a command to the VFO to have it do that. It wouldn't probably be as fast as onboard scanning, but it's just another option to
Yeah.
use where then you don't have to worry about memories at all. You just use um, whatever comes up on the app. So
Hey, Dave, if you look in the chat, Nicholas sent you a message on that about
Yeah,
the
I see
radio.
that. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
And then
research that further. And Nicholas is he'll answer your emails. You can just contact him and through the app, and he can answer any questions you have. So
did you
on
see
that.
the question that Herb put in, or comment Herb had about a proximity search? Herb, KD5PQJ, unmute yourself and you can share your comment.
Oh yeah, let's see.
Go ahead, Herb.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got it up on my web browser now, so I'll take a look at it. Thank you.
Yeah, Herb put in proximity search 2.0 from EL29ER and click on frequency to second sort in order to find. I find missing the 145.19 Houston. Also, the export unsorts goes fetches again and drops the frequency sort.
Which export are we doing? Because it depends on the export. And I'm gonna bring up the screen share again so not everybody's in the dark with what we're talking about. All right, so what I did is I went to the 2.0 search here, put in the grid square, we converted to lat long, I put in 25 miles, FM, I don't know what 14519 is, for example, what mode it is. And then we come back with 27 repeaters within 25 miles of that. Here's 14519 in Houston. Is that the one he was thinking about?
Herb, that's a question to you.
I've lost the chat. If he's on that, I don't know where it is.
Yeah, I find missing the 145.19 Houston. Also,
Is
the
that this right
export.
here? Oh,
I
and the
believe-
export it's missing?
I'm just reading his comment in the chat.
Oh. Well, so when you look here, there's many exports. And some of them, like for example, ICOM, if I click on ICOM, it comes up here and you can choose which radio you have. And then you can choose your what you want memory name 1 to say, memory name 2, and then here's a sort order, and you can change it to frequency. So what some people expect it to do is, let's say you click on call sign and it's sorted by call sign, and then export it, expect it to be automatically sorted by call. It doesn't do that because this is actually JavaScript that's running on your browser. It's not actually requerying. And so that's why if you go to, again, like ICOM, it'll come up here and ask you, how do you want to sort? And so you can say by frequency. Sort order 2 means, let's say you have 2 repeaters with the same frequency. What do you want the next sort to be? And you can say, okay, I want it to be by city. And then you can hit download and it'll do that. That works with, I believe, Anytone will also do that. Let's see, export Anytone. Yeah, you have the sort orders here for Anytone also. And you can choose your radio. But there are a couple that don't do that. Let's see, I don't know. Chirp, looks like Chirp does it. And it's only because they haven't been upgraded yet. But I'm trying to think. Oh, CSV won't do it. It'll just dump the CSV. But CSVs are easy to reorder in Excel. I don't think Kenwood does it, but I think RT Systems does. My computer's bringing up CSV now. Okay. And yeah, there's the same thing with RT Systems. So my guess is he clicked on one that doesn't have this pre-export page. For example, I believe if you go to, well, Travel Plus isn't on this one, but some of them have the Travel Plus CSV and they don't do that. I don't think the Kenwood does either. Oh, no, it does. So I wonder which one he clicked. Must be CSV. So, see, is he muted or is he gone?
Let me see. Nicholas posted something. Any question on RV Connect, just email me via the feedback option in the app. Good night, because it's after midnight his time.
Yeah.
Understood on that one. Herb, did he answer your question? I'm not hearing anything. So who else has a question? Dan, did you have anything, or Tom?
Herb just said he nailed it. He answered the question.
Oh, good.
Popped on there.
So can you get RepeaterBook to work through Android Auto?
So that is actually something that Nicholas and I have discussed. There are specific rules for Android Auto to accept the app, and it has to have either like a books on tape function or a mapping function with POIs. So we thought that maybe repeaters on a map would be considered POIs. And so it's something that we're investigating to see if we think we can make it fall within the rules of not only Android Auto, but also
Apple
Apple.
CarPlay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be more suitable because I'm already going to be using this phone with an RV GPS app while I'm towing my fifth wheel. And so that's going to be, you know, using up the display on the phone per se. But it would be nice to be able to switch because you can switch to about 4 different things as it is now on the display, on the nav display on the truck.
Yeah.
So if one of these was this app, I could just punch it up briefly and be able to pick up a new thing from the repeater book and send it to the radio and then go back to my GPS app.
Yeah. So it's going to come down to if Android will believe us that it's a POI app. So, especially if we can, add mapping to it with POIs, then for sure. Because if you have a mapping function, navigation function, you could use the built-in navigation and then it would have the repeaters along the route and click them. So it's a
Yeah,
possibility.
I'd like to be able to do that for sure because it's better than being distracted messing with your phone.
Right, 100%.
Hey, Garrett, can you give us a quick 5-minute tour of your website on what's on there? And then also, if we do find an error, we want to get a hold of you. How do we notify you?
Yeah. So let's go over. Did I share the right thing? I did. Okay. So across the top here, there are multiple searches that are available, but what I wanted to talk about is the quick search. And the quick search are pre-formatted searches. So they're just point and click or touch on your phone or whatever. And we'll use Michigan as an example. And so there's several pre-formatted searches here. You can search by band, you can search by mode. Somebody just recommended last week, they said, hey, you have all these modes, but I want to search just for FM. I don't know how I didn't have just search for FM in there. So we added search for FM only. And then a couple of the VoIP modes, linked systems. We have a system within the database that will map repeaters that are linked to each other. Mapping meaning it'll link them together. And so when you click on one of these, what's the biggest system in Michigan, would you say?
Oh,
The MI5.
MI5, this one here, the DMR one?
or Eastern Michigan Link's FM one, more commonly used. That's got 20. It's DMR, or I mean, it's Fusion. Eastern. Whoops.
Oh, this
No,
East Coast reflector. That's pretty big.
that is big though.
Oh, and it's got a lot that's outside the state even too.
Yeah, that's the East Coast thing. That's
Okay.
what that means. I'm not sure why it's on there.
Let's go MI5.
Because there's at least one Michigan one.
Oh,
on it.
W8IRA, that's a good one there.
Oh, okay. This one here.
Right there. Yeah, right in the middle.
So with this, if you, here you got a pre-formatted search with just those repeaters. You can map them, put them to Google Earth. You can export them, whatever, and you can view them. Here's on the right, we have the map of where it's located and then details about it. And then if you click this link, here you are right back to that. And then from in here, you can search similar. So if you want to look for other repeaters with the call sign in Battle Creek on that same frequency, within 25 miles, within 50 miles, you can just click those and you don't have to go in and type anything in. So it's all pre-formatted. It says emergency service repeaters. So Aries, Racy, Skywarn, Canwarn, Weather Nets, emergency power. These are repeaters that were recommended along a certain highway. So if you click on that, I'm sure there's way more than 3 along I-75. Those are the only 3 that somebody's recommended. That's why I think the route search feature might suit people better, because we're trying, but it's kind of a slow process to get these recommended repeaters. And then repeaters by nearest city town. So these are repeaters that actually, the location is actually at that place. So if we say Detroit, every repeater will be location Detroit. If we say Edmore, then only the Edmore repeaters will show. It won't show the repeaters in the neighboring town, just the ones in that town. And then we can go down to county. I think, you were talking about searching 3 different counties. You can just click on that. It'll just show you every repeater in that whole county. This is if you subscribe to the update and you get an email every week, this is basically where it takes you as recently updated repeaters. And so if you look at the last 7 days and click on that, it would show you this page. And so it shows 3 repeaters that were updated in the last 7 days. Chippewa, I can't pronounce those. I'm in Oregon. We have easily weird names, so I'm not familiar with those.
They're Indian names here in Michigan.
Yeah, I'm gonna say so I live in Willamette County, and if you saw the name of that county, you would call it Willamette. So we have the same thing here. You just have to have seen it once to know how to pronounce it. But the info here tells you what was updated. Well, mostly this is updated by admin, but we'd have to click into it to see what was updated. But like this one has a new call sign. This one changed the landmark. And so that might affect your programming. Maybe there's a new PL tone that you want to know about. And maybe you haven't checked repeaters in the last 6 months. And so you could click on 6 months and see what changed in the last 6 months. See, this one went black. This is a repeater that was removed completely from service. So that might be one that matters to you to know that. And of course, we go all the way back to last year. These are repeaters reviewed recently. So these are repeaters that somebody looked at and re-verified. A lot of times they're the repeater trustees that are looking at them. But here is an important one. This user here said that the repeater was not heard, and that was on March 16th, and we show it as on air. And so we start tracking this repeater to see if we get multiple people saying it's not heard, and then we'll take it off air. Sometimes it's just out of range, or maybe the repeater was having a bad day. I don't know, but
can anybody make those comments?
Yeah. Well, take a look. Rick, NT0Y. He made the first one on there, the MSU repeater.
Oh yeah, right here.
So anybody can comment like that?
So what this is when you go in and make an update, we will put in what you changed. So in this case, NTOY changed. He updated the C4FM and wire status, added a net, and then added All-Star and Echolink. So so that's basically just a summary of what was changed.
Just thinking, Garrett, the dynamic of repeaters these days. I remember the blue book. I think there was a year it was brown too or something, but had those really thin pages, and it came out every 2 years. But now repeaters are changing. There's so many, and there's so many different things happening all the time. It would almost be like a logging click where I could click in, and I drove up north and I had a QSO with so-and-so on this repeater at this mile marker or something. That information might, I don't know if it would be, I would never go in and make a comment about somebody else's repeater, maybe a user comment kind of feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's this repeater we were looking at, and you were talking about being able to say that you heard it or used it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So let's say you were down around this area. Well, what I can do is add a propagation report, and I'm going to have to change the screen share because you probably can't see it, right? So
I can see what you're looking, the propagation report.
Oh, it shows up, anything in the green box. Okay.
That is thing, because it's fun. I scan 50 repeaters when I'm driving around, and all of a sudden on a clear day, I say, where the heck is that? And I literally go home and look it up, to find out it was in Howell or somewhere 40 miles away. Just a good day and a good spot to hit it.
So can you see on this where I'm moving the cursor around and the lat and long is changing? Are you seeing that? No. Okay. I bet you, hold on. Let me just change the share to the new window that popped up. And here it is. And I need to share that. All right. Now you see it, right?
Yes.
So when I clicked on add propagation report, this map popped up. It shows where the repeater is. And then as I move my cursor around, it changes the lat and long. So I can zoom right in and say, oh, I was over here waiting for my wife in the Kroger parking lot. right? So I just click on right there and it locks the coordinates in. And then I can say I was on a mobile, HT, or base,
Oh,
and
okay.
what my S meter reading was, and add the report.
Okay.
What that will do, and I'll go ahead and do it, and I'll take it off later. So I just added that report. So let me change the share and bring this window back. Now, if I refresh this repeater, it's refreshing. Here it is. Now I've got a blue mark right here, and it pops up and says that KD6KPC.
Oh, you got to
Says
share
S
again.
meter, right? And what it does is, because you're saying you heard the repeater, it comes down here and it just updated last review date to today. So we now have an update and it'll come on here and say, look, I added a propagation report.
Okay. That's cool.
So yeah, you can do
Good.
that. So yeah, I'm going to write down this repeater so I can fix that when we're done. But yeah, that's how that works. And anybody with a registered account, so it's the free account. You just have to register, because we don't allow any anonymous updates. Everything's tracked. So you do that. If you found that this repeater was wrong, you come in and you hit edit repeater, and you get this screen that comes up, and it fills in all the current data with that repeater's data, puts it in the form, and then you can come in and you can change. Oh, it has M17 now. You click that,
Oh,
and then you come
Garrett,
down
Garrett,
yeah, sorry.
can you share? Can you share your
Oh,
screen?
sorry, it stopped sharing. Shoot, share. All right, you're seeing it now, right? Let
Yes.
me go back here. So I'm on this same MSU repeater, and I click update, edit repeater, and then this is what you see with the form that fills in all the current data that we have on the repeater. And then if you said now it has M17, you can click on M17, and then you can click validate changes. It'll take you in to make sure that everything is okay. And then you hit submit, and then it'll send it to an admin. And then the admin curates and makes sure that the data is as accurate as they can know, but basically it's in the right format. What you were seeing on this other page with these comments is what the admin puts in that says NTOI did this up, and it would say added M17.
Oh,
That's what that's doing. Now, this isn't for everybody, and very few people do it, but there is a review function here where you can come in and say it's got excellent coverage, low activity, good for travel, one line summary, and a comment. You can do that, and that'll be posted on the page after an admin makes sure it's acceptable. This one doesn't have any reviews, but you'd click on a box, for example, if it did, and it would show the reviews that it had. Um, yeah. So, anyways, that's how that works. One way to help us out is we try to make sure every repeater's been reviewed within 2 years. It would be great to have it every 6 months, but some people say, hey, if you help me out or you give me information on repeaters that need reviewing or updated, I'll go out and do some work for you. So you can click on this, not updated in the past 2 years, and it brings up a list of 204 repeaters in the last date it was reviewed. So if one of these repeaters, and let's say you want to sort by county, is near you, then all you have to do is you can go in and it says quick update down here. It's been over 2 years since we've heard if this repeater is operational. You can click report heard or report not heard. And that will tell us, especially if it was heard, it'll update this review from 2018 to today's date. And if it wasn't heard, then we start tracking it wasn't heard and watching for a pattern to see if maybe it's gone. Here's a review right here that somebody added. He just wanted to say that the downlink tone, same as uplink. Oh yeah, see that's a problem because it's not the same. So he's trying to say it's the same. So 110. I'm just going to update that real quick while we're sitting here. Let's
that's
see.
great. There's no excuse to complain about repeaters. I complain about them all the time. They just don't have the coverage, and I can't figure out why I couldn't hit it. And I need to voice it there.
Well,
Yeah.
down here I'm seeing somebody. Well, this is this. Oh, that's the one I did. No, it's not. This is one. This is an actual propagation report that somebody put in. They got on a mobile S meter 6, 32.9 miles away from this repeater in Stutzmanville.
You better ask Steve
Steve,
about that one.
Steve.
It might have been Steve.
Steve's up in Emmett County.
Wasn't I haven't heard Stutzmanville in a while. I don't have a ton
Well,
of.
that's why the tone was wrong on it.
Well, that was 2017 that somebody said that. So I mean, who knows now, right? It needs to be re-verified. So last time it was reported on air was 2017. So it's one that is desperate to be re-verified. So
Yeah, let me go put my hand outside the window and check it.
so, but that's how you can help out with keeping the data updated. Now, come November is when we'll freeze the data for the 2026 version of the directory. So anything that you can get updated now will make it for 2026. We do work with several coordination councils, not one currently in Michigan. We're hoping with the ARRL sanctioning our data that will improve. But for example, Illinois, their coordination council, the ILRA, they data dump to me monthly, and all of the data, and their data is pretty good. All the data on RepeaterBook is verified by ILRA. We do that with Kansas and Oregon, Washington, Hawaii, Arizona. There's a few others. And so we're trying to get back into the days of working with the coordination councils to make the data even better.
That's good.
Somebody made the comment that the data is always changing, and they're absolutely correct, because the ironic thing about the ARRL directory is that they used to sell about 80,000 of those a year, and now they're down to about 10,000. And so the irony to me is that this website that I built probably cut into those sales. And if it wasn't me, it'd be somebody else, because the data on the web is free and can be updated instantly, as opposed to, having to rebuy books and make notes in them or whatever. And so many people, I think, buy one book and hold it for years because you don't want to transfer all your notes over. And so that's where the power of this website is. And this website is constantly being updated.
That weather thing is cool too. That's recent. There's a storm right now up north, way up. Right there.
That the scrolling at the top there. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. I tap into the weather service and I download all of their alerts every 5 minutes. So that's always updated.
So it would change per state or region or whatever, obviously, because that's an Upper Peninsula warning right there.
Yeah, it goes statewide. I also have another marquee that comes up red. So when we had the big hurricanes that went across Florida and the Carolinas, I was getting information from emergency operators there where ham should go to listen to certain repeaters, and that was scrolling across the top. And
cool.
So I especially in the hurricane months, I really pay attention and try to get, if there's information I can pass on, I have the ability to do that. So we do that. Now it's going to show, let me see, I think I go here. Let me see if this is working. I was working on this recently. I think this one does work. It's doing some heavy number crunching, so it takes it a second to display, I hope. It's just a second.
Hey, Garrett, while we're waiting, how many admins do you have here from Michigan?
Just one, and he's only hanging on because I have nobody else, so we need help. I'm trying to remember who that is up there. Is it KBOP? Let me look here at Michigan. We track how good the data is in each state with our own metrics on board, and we gave Michigan a confidence rating of B, which is actually pretty good. It's really hard to get an A rating. We show Michigan has 501 active repeaters with, we believe, 86% on the air, 8% off air. Everything looks good as far as the data. And then here's the recent activity that was done. In the last 30 days, we've added 3 repeaters to Michigan. 29 updates were completed. 25 reviews were completed, and 5 propagation reports. Well, one was just mine. But if we look at Michigan, let me see. Oh, sorry, it's N9KOP. Oh, we have two, KBOP and N9KOP are our Michigan admins, if anybody knows who they are. So,
Yeah, I don't.
um,
Yeah, I know Paul. KB0 Pete.
yeah, I'm trying to remember if it's Paul that is he live in Wisconsin or does he live in Michigan? I can't remember.
He lives in Wisconsin right now. He's in
Right.
the Green Bay area.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think he was wanting to come off of Michigan because he's not here very often. But looks like the stat page came up. And so right now in RepeaterBook, and this is worldwide, we have 47,000 repeaters. I know 38,000 are in North America, which I guess should specify it's US and Canada because the ARRL directory I gave the ARRL US and Canada, which is, you guys are right. You guys are right at Canada, so maybe that matters to have Canadian repeaters in that book. But talking about how much the data changes in the last year, we've added 786 repeaters and completed 19,000 updates. And did 2,400 propagation reports. This is showing repeaters updated in the last 30 days and where it was. So I'm actually working on updating Washington to the Washington coordination data. So it says 276 repeaters updated, and I think I did that in the last 2 days. But Illinois at 91 because we've been updating, and then the country of Turkey has really been going crazy with 82 updates over the last 30 days. You get down to the last 7 days, we can see how much it was done in the last 17 days site-wide, 406 updates. Digital repeaters, this is data that the ARRL actually asked me for. So apparently they have no way of tracking this, and I happen to have it. So, and this is worldwide, 4,556 DMR repeaters, 3,400 System Fusion, 2,400 D-Star, 798 P25, and then we see NXDN Tetra, and we have 52 M17s.
That's North American all across?
This is worldwide. Yeah,
Worldwide.
this is worldwide.
Look at that. There's more DMR repeaters than anything. I would have never thought.
Yeah. Now, digital mode versus analog mode, entire world, this stat keeps changing. 2 years ago, we were at 85% analog, and now we're down to 77. So there's definitely a trend, but there's 21,000 analog and 6,300 digital worldwide total. Interesting how that works out with the. Here's the 20,000 are mixed mode that can operate. No, 20,000 are RFM. This needs to be updated a little bit. So, but this is the trend here of repeater ads, digital in the last 12 months. And so we use this to see the trend of what mode is gaining ground. And this really started slowing down last September. But there was we can see a big DMR push. But before that was System Fusion. And I think you would have thought D-Star would have been, you see this little push here with D-Star. D-Star had a sale last year on DMR repeater or D-Star repeater, so we started seeing a little bit of a D-Star spike. System Fusion spiked a little bit with their two repeaters, but a lot of times these coincide with sales that the manufacturers are having. And then we got a little bit of a spike with M17, but by far DMR average is pretty high. They're usually higher than everybody else. So, and then we see here how people are exporting the data, I guess. So different types of exports. So this has almost gone by the wayside now, G4HFQ. But anyway, Chirp, 12,000 exports, and RT Systems, 11,000 in the last 30 days. So it used to be that Chirp would outnumber RT Systems 4-1, but now they're almost neck and neck. So RT Systems has really gained ground in the programming realm. I mean, it's a paid product versus a free product, and
It's way better though.
yeah, it shows in the stats here. So they really, really increase. So anyways, looks like I need to work on the stats a little bit, but roughly that's about correct. And then I was working on, and we'll get this working where you can check on an individual country and then stats by state. So these are in progress. I don't have any links to this on the website yet because it's not fully programmed, but it's coming. So anyway, questions or anything else I need to show?
That is cool. Hey, we're past our time, but who else has
okay.
any question? Anyone else have any other questions? Last chance.
Thanks, Garrett, for coming on. I learned some stuff. I made some notes. I'm happy that you're here tonight.
Oh, good.
Yeah, thanks, Garrett.
This is how it works at these shows that I go to. But the thing at the show is there's always a line like 6 deep. So here, all the time we want to spend it without competing with, 6 people impatiently waiting behind you.
Will you have a seminar or whatever at Dayton? Won't you have a room or no?
No, I'm at Dayton by myself. So if I leave the booth, there's no one there. And last time I left the booth, Rod and Karen from RT Systems said it was so busy, everybody wanted to talk to you. So yeah, I've done them in Orlando, but but Dayton doesn't work out for me to do that. But
well, we'll see you down there this year.
Oh, good. Yeah, stop by. Anybody who stops by, I've got a RepeaterBook pin. If you collect pins, come by and grab one. So,
all right.
I think that's it, Garrett. We're over our time, but you know what? I'm with everyone else. We learned a lot, and thank you so much for sharing all that stuff. I really like seeing the number of repeaters and for DMR and YSF and M17, etc. That was cool.
Not too many for M17.
It's brand new. We have a relationship with the M17 guy. I'm trying to remember if he's in Poland or where he's at, but he's always on us to make sure we have it up to date.
Usually we talk to Chip, W0CHP.
Oh, the M17. Actual, there's an M7, the guy who's doing all the coding is in Europe somewhere. I think it's Poland, but I think so. Anyway.
It's the digital mode that's exclusively ham. It didn't come from something else. That's what they say.
Indeed it is. Final thoughts? Anyone else have any questions?
Dana, did you want to hang around afterwards for a chat?
We can do that. All right. Well, we will call this evening done. Garrett, thank you so very much for coming and joining us again on DMR TV. We really do appreciate it. And we will post this video on our website as well as our YouTube channel. Garrett, thank you so much. Let me stop the recording.